and wrote another interpretation, which was not the interpretation we requested, but it was the interpretation that he clarified that was more consistent with what he had in the meeting. That's in the record. Nobody hid anything. It was made available by your clerk. That's the determination of the code enforcement officer. Code enforcement officers are put on a lot of pressure by a lot of people. I'm dealing with Ms. Brown's father, who disagreed with an interpretation that the code enforcement officer made regarding the auto facility. He called and he met with the code enforcement officer and asked him to change his interpretation. He wrote another interpretation. So as constituents, that's what you do. He consulted with his attorney because some of these issues are difficult. He made that attorney. People don't disagree with it. That's their right. They can voice their opposition, but that's Mr. Smith's determination. We asked for a clarification, he clarified it. As for the meetings, I just wanted to clarify because a lot has been talked about commenting on Medline. The Medline application is in the town of Montgomery. Therefore, there is an application before the planning board, and your planning board is the lead agency under seeker. Therefore, they're tasked with the duty of doing the environmental review for this plan. They're currently considering the environmental impact statement, which they will review, and when they deem it's appropriate and complete, they will schedule a public hearing. That document, which will go through each and every environmental issue, which is several hundred pages, will be available for the public to review, whether you live in a town, whether you live in the village, whether you live in California, whether you live in Thailand. You can review that. It'll be up on a website. It'll be available here at Town Hall for every resident to comment on. There will be a hearing. There will be a stenographer there who will take every comment submitted orally, submitted in writing, and the applicant will be required to respond to it, which will also be available for the public to review. So everybody who wants to comment on that plan can comment on the plan. I was not at Village Hall on Tuesday, but our understanding, because the village is not the lead agency under seeker, because it's not located in the village, but the project may have certain impacts on the village, that Medline offered to go to the village board to discuss those specific comments of the village residents so they could voice it in their own forum. I don't know why, or I had no opinions to who was allowed to speak, but the purpose of that meeting was for Medline to go there and say, we will hear your village-specific concerns on this application, in addition to allowing the village and town residents to come to this town when you have your meeting, because all the villages are part of the town, so certainly they can comment. So there is a process. That process is mandated by the state. Medline went above and beyond that process. So, you know, we are proceeding. We will welcome comments. Like I said, everybody will be able to comment. And I see my timer is going out, so unless anyone's there, I appreciate your time. And thank you for allowing me to clarify.
I appreciate your time, thank you.
Could you cite the appellate division case?
Yeah, Landmaster versus, I'll send you the exact site. I'll send it to the reporter so you can all review it. I'll send you the denial of the Court of Appeals. I'll send you a picture of the $700,000 check that this town had a right because they violated the Constitution. So you could read Judge Owen's decision, you can read the appellate court decision, they're all printed.
So you're saying it's 700,000, you're sure of that amount?
Yeah.
Okay, just for the record, you're going on saying that it was 700,000 amount.
If it was 704,000, if you want to write an article, that it wasn't, but there was with interest. It was originally 400,000 and some, but the town refused to pay it, and it's interest.
Keep it moving. Sorry it took so long.
That's okay, hi. I live in Valley Central School District. Am I allowed to speak?
Yeah. You live
Okay.
where?
I'm not gonna have a cop come and escort me out tonight?
No, where do you live?
Valley Central Schools,
Excellent.
Crawford,
Okay.
3 miles from Medline.
Name, rank,
And I love
school.
Montgomery.
Okay.
My first name is Jessica, my last name is Goki. And I happen to completely agree with you about the fact that it's not illegal, which, excuse me, doesn't mean it's not wrong. But I just wanted to thank you for coming here, because the last time I saw you, you were defending a dollar store and insulting the residents of Westtown. But thank you for coming here and proving to me that this is what you do when you go to town meetings.
He's a lawyer.
Yeah. All right, so you mentioned that a lot of the people here might not know the difference between a village or the town, or where one begins or one ends, or who owns a road, which is a inherently confusing process. But we do know where we write our checks to. We know which town, which village, and which school district. And there's two pie charts on the back
County-
wall.
County and state also.
That too.
'Cause it's just, yeah,
Well, we have two major tax bills.
There's a pie chart in the back of the
Exactly.
back there, yeah.
And the larger part of the pie chart, we all know without looking, is school. And you should be concerned whether it's a planning board issue, a village board issue, even though it's taking place in the town, with what Medline just did to the town of Wawayanda, and more importantly, the Minnesink School District. On the 11th year of a 10-year pilot, they are leaving Minnesink schools high and dry. So for 100% of the time they occupied the site from 2009 until 2019, they experienced what's called financial incentives in the form of a pilot, payment in lieu of taxes. They did not pay millions of dollars in taxes to the Minnesink School District because, according to our county executive, it would have become the rateable that we ranted and raved about in 2020. They are leaving. We often wish we had a crystal ball to see what was going to happen.
It's not a vacant building. They sold the building over a year ago.
Exactly, and you know what it's called? It's called a shovel-ready site, according to the Orange County Partnership, and I guarantee
There's
you,
nobody in that building now?
the next company
Nobody
will
paying
get a
taxes?
tax break. They will get a pilot,
We'll see.
just like Medline,
You can't
even
predict
though
that, right?
I have 5 minutes, so I don't really want to go back and forth with you about that. You don't, you're not timed, I am.
Yeah.
You have a crystal ball. You know exactly what happened. You know exactly what's going to happen. They left as soon as their tax break ended. So whatever tax break the Montgomery IDA gives them, 10 years, 15 years, do you actually not think they're going to do the same thing to you? Because you look skeptical.
Me, I represent the town.
Okay, so you
It's
question.
not a personal issue to me.
All right. So, for example, 2016, Medline should have paid $431,630 in school taxes to the school district. They did not pay that. Instead, they paid 27,000. So for that year, that's how much money the school district did not get. I love Valley Central Schools. And they are one of the most progressive school districts that's still a quasi-rural school district. And I would hate to see that happen. Your third choice for Medline, they did not pick Montgomery first. They tried Wallkill, they tried Hamptonburg, and now you're their third choice. You should be really skeptical about the fact that they paid $17,800,000 in September of 2018, prior to even submitting a draft environmental scope impact statement. I also think that you should get online and you'll find some articles about what is considered a living wage. And according to this article in 2018, a salary of $58,450 per year or less annually is now considered low income. So why are we excited about jobs that pay an average of $37,600 a year, when that is below the poverty level for a family of 4 and officially low income in New York as of a year ago? That's not something to be excited about. We are about to have our community flooded with jobs that pay less than a living wage. We are about to have our school district exempt from taxes for, I'm gonna guess, a minimum of 10 years. These are bad things. So the reason these are important, it's not just about me trying to make them look bad. There are 2 qualifications for the Orange County Industrial Development Agency or the Montgomery Industrial Development Agency to approve these projects. They have to improve our quality of life or provide a benefit for our community, neither of which Medline does.
Thank you. Thanks for coming. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
before, and I do appreciate
Welcome.
this. I'm Barbara Lerner. I've been a taxpayer in this, in the town since, I think, 1973. Excuse me.
Your
This
dad
way,
was a
this
wonderful man.
I beg your pardon?
Your dad was a wonderful man.
Well, thank you very much. Oh,
Thank
we
you.
even had that.
I was-
There are two things that you mentioned before that I think are very relevant. You mentioned technology. The warehouse industry is something that is beginning to fall to the wayside, and the jobs promised today are not going to be the jobs that are existing in 10 years. They are automating, they are transferring to smaller trucks, which will increase the traffic for our roadways. Both of these projects are applying for tax incentives. The difference is that at least Medline owns the property and can sell it. What happens in 10 years when Amazon moves away? And I can almost guarantee you they will. They've got 5 years where it will remain stable at the current rate that they're paying. And after that, the increase continues to go up. At 10 years, I think, is when the increase comes in to, so that they will feel it in their rent. They are not an owner, they are an end user. The agreements that you make with them will be primarily with the builder, who's transferring it to a real estate company, who is in turn transferring it via their lease with a stable rate. It's a triple net lease, so the additional costs. The zoning change, and that property has been changed several times, is now interchange business. You already have an industrial zone on one side of Montgomery. If you want to mirror that and create two lower wage industries on both sides of Montgomery, I can envision an exodus of the people who are here and the reduced possibility of bringing in one thing that you said, technology. A center that will create jobs for kids who are in school now to be able to stay here and work and actually make money is much more beneficial to the community than two mega warehouses that employ, and sometimes only contract employees, meaning they go to employment agencies to have minimum or lower wage jobs. These jobs are under $15 an hour, maybe $15 to $18. They are not living wage anywhere that I know of in Orange County. You'll be getting these people from areas where it's less expensive to live, parts of Sullivan County in particular. It's going to increase traffic with very little benefit to the school systems themselves. But you'll still have the cost impact of having these companies here. You may not have the ability to control what Medline is doing if that's a pre-existing zoning, but you do not have to change the zoning for this Project Sailfish Blue Water Amazon warehouse site. That was created as an interchange. It was originally industrial. It was changed, I think, to gateway overlay in, I want to say 1999, 2000. It was rezoned at that time. It was rezoned again because the overlay district was not, created appropriately. It was actually spot zoning. It's interchange business, and that is something that really would call for the type of jobs that you are looking for to support this community and not support low-wage jobs that are for areas that are not in Orange County. You control that. You can decide that. That's a zoning issue. You as a board can make that determination.
No. We're trying to put together a master plan of people, citizens of the town to control that. That's not even, as far as I'm concerned, it should be citizens of the town.
The
doing
zoning
that.
change
Not about
is,
me.
the zoning change is up to this board. Once both of these projects go through, there is no turning back. It's there. You're not gonna tear down a 1 million+ square foot building.
Well, the Child World, they left, they bought a beautiful ladder truck to the Coldenham Fire Department, and they were going, that building was vacant for 10 years. We'll go down Governor's Drive. I closed all those factories, Melco, Technology, Grand Union, the last Schwab. I closed all those places. 9/11 happened,
I
they're
understand,
gone.
right. And now we're bringing this back. But these are physical changes to our landscape.
People,
that
the
won't
citizens,
be-
listen, the citizens need to get involved. They haven't been involved in 10 or 15 years here. I don't know why.
Yes, we have.
Well, it's.
Well, why
it's
don't we have a master
unfortunate.
plan?
Because I'm
Town
bored of my
board
case
hasn't done
on
it.
board.
No.
And the
Why wasn't this room filled up 10 years ago and asked for a master
It
plan?
was.
I was here, I didn't see it.
We were all here.
Listen,
I don't know
I appreciate
why.
you coming, you know,
I
you've
don't
been
know
here a
why.
long time, I understand.
You pay
I was a
taxes.
kid, in your factory, I mean, I grew up I grew up on Drury Lane. My
Okay.
grandfather's farm there, I
Okay.
grew up on all that property you're talking about with Blue Water, whatever, all that property, I grew up on all that. So I trapped, I hunted, I did everything there. So I'm trying to say, I appreciate you coming here and.
I just don't, I
think
don't wanna see.
Citizens need to get involved, what do they want their town to look like?
Well, it's kind of tough because the agendas don't come out until the last minute because the board hasn't made a decision with what Tara or Sue can put on these agendas. So if you don't know, it's.
We're putting together, what do I do, since I got here?
You
I
don't
asked
decide.
master plan, why? Since I got here, I started this.
We really do need it.
I agree with it,
But we need to
100%.
put the brakes on some of these forever changes. Once the change happens, a master plan won't make a difference.
We're
It's
behind,
after,
we're coming from behind.
it's,
You
so
said-
it's time
We're
to
so far
just say,
behind, we're 10
take a
years, we're a
breath.
decade or better behind.
It's time to take a breath and just say, wait a second, we can do better than this. We can do much, much better for this, for the people in our community and the businesses and taxpayers who have supported this place for generations.
I'm a business owner here and I wasn't making a living wage. Because those jobs on Neely Town Road, we don't get as businesses. We're traveling into New York City to get our work.
I understand.
So I don't get any, as those jobs that are out here on Neely Town Road in these industrial warehouses, that's right up my alley, and I don't see any work out of it. I go into New York City. That's the biggest problem I see, you know, but from a business point of view, but thank you.
My tenants do hire local people.
Yes, they do.
They do, and they do
Yeah.
pay damn well.
We work for the same people too.
I would hate,
So-
yes, and I would
Yeah.
hate to see them decide that because of the traffic issue, that it's no longer worthwhile for them to lease that building. There was an accident 2 weeks ago. 84 was closed down twice in the past 3 weeks.
It's tough, I know.
It's not tough, it's impossible. My strip along 747 will not be
I'm
developed.
around the corner from you, so I'm familiar.
You know that, you know my strip, my vacant strip on the other side of I can't,
microphone.
Probably batteries dead, I'm sure.
Probably battery went. Thank you.
maybe the battery went dead.
Thank
I
you.
can't turn left now. What's gonna happen when I have 500 cars going past because of a zoning change that allows a warehouse?
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Can I just ask one question? Is it within your rights to petition the state DOT for a study on the traffic patterns that would slow this progress down on the approval of these two warehouses? Because there's no infrastructure being considered here, and we're gonna be getting a lot of 18-wheelers in
My
this.
rights or the town?
No, it was within the town board's rights to petition the state DOT to review this prior to any further approvals going.
They should have a traffic study within the planning board, that is something we can look into.
Yeah, please do. I urge you and beg you to do that.
There's a camera in front of the pharmacy right now.
Sorry. First of all, thank you for your.
There's a camera up high in front of the pharmacy on 211 right
I learned a
now.
lot tonight, and I just.
And they had it in front of my office
I appreciate everyone that spoke.
for 2 days.
Both sides, but my
That's the
takeaway,
traffic study.
unfortunately, is some of the things that you said, like, I'm 33. I've been renting the village for 7 years. I, you know what, to be able to just purchase a home on Chandler Lane, that now I'm gonna be lucky to be able to keep my business going, to pay for a house that's probably not gonna be worth anything now. You know, I'm supporting 5 children, and both of my husband and I are small business owners, and we both spend every dime we have and every minute we have in this village. And what my takeaway is that because nobody else wanted to do anything, it's too late. So why did you even run? What do you do? Like, if it's too late for everybody and these
Oh, it's
businesses
on me.
going up.
I ran
not
because there
you.
was these
Like,
problems.
right, but it's too
Yeah.
late. If we can't do anything to stop these two
Well,
buildings.
they're not breaking the
then-
law, somebody's here with breaking the law.
So what are we all doing here then?
The question is, I brought up before, what law do you want me to break, what law do you want me to molest to stop this? Tell me. I'm not gonna do it, I'm saying, I'm not gonna break a law or molest the law to say it's not, but if there's if they're not filling out, because we've had this conversation.
Right, but it sounds a little bit like there was a little corruption or a little bit of
Corruption?
hand holding.
I resent that fact, because
Not you, I'm sorry, let me be clear, not you, but from what I.
I am a business owner, I am sacrificing to be here. My wife and I are both business owners, so.
I didn't say you, I just had to clarify, I'm not saying you. In that email, it looks like there was some harassing and some hand holding and a little bit of corruption of, no, this is what you need to say. It looks bad to
It's not.
everybody.
It's not. Is it basically, it was a neglect of the master plan, 100%. Thank you. Yes, sir. Come on down.
Just quickly,
Yes, sir.
my name is, is this working now? My name is Chris Camillo, I've been in the town for 21 years, I've spent a lot of money to be here, and I've got a lot invested. Maybe there's been no corruption as said, but there has been a little bit of advantage taking of our ignorance or our lack of a plan. The comprehensive plan, the town plan should be in motion for the last 20 years and healthy and up to date. Maybe there's been no law broken, but what about the pilot? Can we cut the pilot out and make the attractiveness a little bit less for this company? I mean, why do we gotta give them a tax break for 10 years?
They already got one.
It's a county pilot or the town pilot. It's really not up to us. It's not up to the town board.
But how do we attract, I mean,
Well, the
as
pilot
the town board recommend, as the town board is representing
get a
us, it
break
seems that
twice?
you might be interested in helping us, not as you, not as used for you, but for all of us, to stop this issue. Because it does, the more I learn, it sounds very, very bad to the town. As they've done in Wigwam, they cut out in 10 years. I think that happened in this building that you're in now with Osram 20 years ago. They left in 10 years. This is like, it's not gonna happen again to us. Oh, it's gonna happen again. You're gonna lose. I mean, to create a community, you build it slowly, you build it from the inside out. You're letting all these outsiders come in and take advantage of us. This is an expensive place to live. We ought to get a little bit more consideration. Really ought to get a little more consideration. And for all of Orange County, there are three great places: Warwick, Goshen, and Montgomery. If you're not careful, there's gonna be two. Montgomery's gonna be off the list. This is a diamond in the rough. You gotta be careful.
May I just clarify the salaries, just one 30
Salaries?
seconds. Yeah.
No. Where do you went? Salaries of what, a fictitious
The
company?
two companies that are coming in, so,
Doesn't matter. Like, we already discussed this.
what, do you know what the salaries are?
Whatever the market drives. I'm a business owner. Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Well, can I just?
Salaries aren't set by companies, they're set by economics. Go ahead. You wanna lower that down?
It's not working.
Take John's.
Go ahead.
No, I don't need it. You know what I just.
We're just
wanna
gonna make a
do?
big show here, you know?
But I just want to do this. Everybody who is here over the past 10 or 15 years that has come to planning board meetings, zoning board meetings, and town board meetings, would you raise your hands, please? I mean, it's more than half the room. We've all been here. We've all worked and come to planning board meetings, and of course, a lot of this is planning board issues. The frustration that the public has is that when you come to the planning board meeting and you have public hearing, you have public comment, does any of it ever get incorporated into the decision of what happens? And in a majority of times, it seems like the answer is no. And that's what gets people's frustration. The one example that I have that I got involved with years ago, and that's how I met John Brown, was Cranesville Block. Cranesville Block started out, they wanted to come on the Stone Castle Road, we're just gonna go up on the hill there, and we're just gonna put whatever it looks like we have over on Route 9 across from the Duchess Mall, which is a dump, a horrible, terrible facility. And they were just gonna duplicate that in the town of Montgomery.